Welcome back. Seasonal depression is real, but what causes it? It's obviously the change of the season. Joining us now, licensed clinical social worker Linda Troutman-Zelos to talk about it. Some people have it, some people don't. Some have a mild case, some have, a little bit less. But what is seasonal depression?
Seasonal depression happens generally at the changing of the seasons. Pretty obvious statement, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is, traditionally we see people go into the winter blues. That's part of seasonal depression. They tend to want to sleep more. They have difficulty with the weather. Generally that, when it's colder, they don't want to go out. They're less motivated. They really, you see some exhibits and changes in how they present themselves, their mood.
Sure.
And then there's what we call reverse seasonal affective, which usually happens in the summer, where people get more depressed in the summer.
Really?
And they, we always think of sun, vitamin D,
right.
free vitamin D. Well, for them, it's not so good.
Now you speak of vitamin D, and we talk about, the seasons. Here in New York, I would think, and in the Northeast, maybe there's a little bit more of this because there's more of a transition between the seasons.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, a study was done, and it said that Central New York was second in the nation for depression because we only had 120 days of full sun. And I thought that was really interesting when I had read that article, that really the depression links. The first one, if you ever want to move, don't move to Seattle.
That
was
number
the number one
ahead of Central New York.
Yep.
Okay, so let's say you have this. How do you know if you have it? Because a lot of people who just want to curl up and read a book when it gets rainy and cold and
usually it's pattern. You look at the pattern that happens. You notice in the fall you tend to be a lot more, curling up inside, which is fine. Everybody likes to do that, but you tend to sleep more.
When does it become serious, where it's like now this is depression?
You see the major depressive symptoms, where helplessness, all of those things kind of kick in. Again, the seasonal affective, very common. I think the last statistic I looked at, it was 1 in 5 Americans have it. Usually very mild cases. But remember, your days, you start off in the dark, you end up in the dark. That's just not good for your mental health.
So what do you do to fight it?
Well, some people just do distraction therapy, part of DBT, which is dialectical behavior therapy. We do a lot of distraction work. Things to do, positive things to keep themselves busy. Sometimes it's medication managed. Some people really do need a little lift in the winter months and they stop taking their medications in the summer. I've had people that do a year-round depression medication just on a low dose to help them feel better. Again, this is individualized.
What about exercise? What about maybe changing a routine as you go into the fall months, knowing that you could be susceptible to the depression?
Yep, absolutely. The other thing too is there are light boxes you can get that actually simulate, they look like reading lamps, but they have a special bulb in it that will actually give you the same type of light.
That sunlight?
That sunlight, it emulates sunlight. And it's great. People don't know they're sitting under a therapy lamp and you can read your book. But if it gets really bad, we talk about, people can become suicidal with depression. This September is Suicide Awareness Month, and we always talk about how depressed people can get, whether it be seasonal depression or regular, depression due to whatever causes. So, we always look for that hopelessness, helplessness. We're asking those questions a lot more frequently, obviously, and we want to make sure that people are aware that they can call for help, like at MCAT, Mobile Crisis.
And you shouldn't feel stigmatized by calling that, because that's what it's there for.
That's exactly what they're there for. And they're really good. You can talk to them. If you find that you're getting more depressed than not, a good talk with a family physician. Maybe they can refer you to a therapist. Okay. Maybe they'll put you on medication, whatever you need.
Thank you so much, Linda Troutman-Zelos, for joining us today to talk about this very important seasonal depression. And of course, September is Suicide Awareness Month.